What's that?
Deep to left field. Going back towards. Looking up. See ya. 3,000. History.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Yes, welcome back. It's Sports and Sorts, episode 195. We are back after a long hiatus. It's Sports and Sorts live on a Monday morning at around 10-ish as usual. And we have some great stuff to talk about today, mainly the MLB with the trade deadline coming up. We got some stuff to talk about there. Some moves have been made, some small, some a little bit bigger than that. We also have to talk about something that I think the Bryman's going to want to talk about. It was a pretty big beatdown in Beantown that we took as Yankee fans, and I'm pretty certain the Bryman has some stuff he wants to talk about there. We also will have a few other things pop up. We also have a question for you that we're going to have come up soon. We have possibly a new thing that we're going to be trying out here. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit towards the end of the show because I would like to get your feedback and maybe even if we could get some, I don't know, some ways, things that we could possibly call it. So you can always do that. And also, if you have anything that you want us to talk about during the show, you can put it in the comments and we'll do our best to get to it. And if you want to be notified when we go live, hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell, and you will be notified whenever we go live. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. You can find Sports and Sorts anywhere podcasts are played. And, of course, all our social media is on the website, which is www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. And I'm one of your hosts. My name's Shane.
And I'm the Bryman.
And
Welcome back.
yeah,
It's Monday.
Yeah, it's a Monday morning. And if you comment, like I said, if you comment during the show, we will put it up on the screen. And today, we got a great show. So let's go. All right, so like I said, MLB got to talk about some trades that have been. We can briefly talk about. We don't have to talk about, Eric Sogard getting traded. That's not a huge trade to the Rays. I know that some Cub fans were disappointed because he wasn't going to be able to don the Harry Carey glasses while he was playing, but it's not that big. I think the bigger trade here, and the more surprising trade, was, and when you actually look at the trade, I don't think it's that surprising. I think it's actually a good fit, and I think it's not necessarily a great fit for this year because they're kind of struggling, but I do think it's a good fit for next year when they can kind of hit the reset button, and that is Stroman going to the Mets. He is obviously going to be fitting in there very well as like a number 3 starter. I think it's a pretty darn good move for them. Now, is it a great move for Stroman? Only time will tell on that. Because as of this year, it stinks because he's going from a team that wasn't really going to be doing much to a team that doesn't seem to really be doing much. And now, granted, they're only 6 games out of the wild card, but they're still. I don't even think they have a winning record right now. So
No,
it's not
about 7 or 8 games under 500. Yeah, they're not good.
So they're not good, and could this help them?
Too many teams to leapfrog. That's not happening.
It could help them, but it's not a great move for this year. I think it's just more for next year. It's an interesting way to attack next year and fill all your holes in the rotation, especially with all the injuries they've had.
Well, here's the problem I have with it. It's a good move, and it fortifies your rotation where you could have a top they could have a top 5 rotation in baseball if they keep Thor, but all indications are that they're trading Noah Syndergaard. So
that would be bad. I mean, it could be good in the long term. But
that's why Brodie Van Wagenen did this. He did this because they're going to trade Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah.
Which is a head-scratching move to me. And it's
because Marcus Stroman's having a great year. That was one I talked about
a great fit for the National League.
And I was like, this was something that I said at the beginning of the year. I thought he was going to have kind of this is going to be the start to his career for the next 3 to 5 years. He's going to be a very good pitcher. He's just going to really lock it down. He wasn't going to have that 4 ERA anymore. He's been pitching in the 3s, low 3s, high 2s for most of the year, and he's been pitching very well. And all those things should get amplified in the National League. His strikeout total should go up just a little bit. His ERA should probably come down a little bit. That's just what usually happens when decent pitchers go to the NL. But he is no replacement for Thor.
No. and I think that's what he's trying to do. He is trying to supplement that spot in the rotation by getting Stroman proactively first before he trades Thor to maybe lessen the blow. But the problem is, I'm sorry, look, I like Marcus Stroman. But when Noah Syndergaard is right and when he's pitching well, that dude's a top 10 pitcher in the league. Yeah. He falls into ace category if he's good. Mm-hmm. He's not as good as DeGrom, but imagine a rotation with those top 3 guys. Yeah. It's head scratching to me in a similar way, and I know we're going to get to Trevor Bauer, but it's head scratching to me in a similar way that it is with the Indians, who are clearly going to trade Trevor Bauer also. I mean, that's almost certainly going to happen because the way I look at the Indians rotation, if their top 3 guys are healthy and right, which is like, that's saying a lot because right now you've got Kluber, who's still on the IL. You've got Trevor Bauer, who is not right in his head. And then you've got Carlos Carrasco, who unfortunately was diagnosed with leukemia. So, I mean, their rotation is not healthy or right by any stretch. But if those 3 guys were healthy and as right as could possibly be in the head, considering who Bauer is, that's a formidable that's a playoff kind of rotation that you want. Mm-hmm. So it kind of, I just don't know. And Noah Syndergaard is 26. If you're the kind of team that's trying to build something, you don't go trading pieces like this. You just don't. I don't understand. Look, Brodie Van Wagenen, we said it when he was hired. We laughed at it, and rightfully so, because
we also came back and said, "Oh, well, he's making some interesting moves, and this seems to be going pretty well." But then, then the wheels fell off pretty quickly.
He was making moves for the sake of making moves because I think he had to do something to offset the fact that people were like, "What the heck were the Mets thinking hiring a player agent to manage the team when he had no experience in this area?" It's like trying to put a celebrity in the White House. How's that worked out? I'm sorry. It's similar. You're putting a guy with no experience in that position in a really high and impactful position. I'm sorry. It's not what's best for business. But I will tell you this. But real quick, just to finish up the conversation on Stroman. If nothing else, the Mets can take from this that they may have blocked a guy from going to the Yankees. Yeah. And when you consider what the return was, the Mets only gave up from what I understand, it was like their 4th and 6th best pitching prospects. Guys I've literally never heard of. And by the way, when you're talking about the 4th and 6th best pitching prospects from the Mets, that's not good. Those are not good players.
Their farm system isn't in the top 5.
No, it's probably, I don't know if it's in the bottom 5, but it's
probably somewhere in the middle.
It's probably in the middle at best. That is an unbelievable haul for the Mets because they got a guy with team control for next year.
Yeah. And he's going to fit into that 3 hole.
And here's the thing. There is a very good chance, especially in a park like Citi Field, where it's a big park, it's a pitcher's park, and 60% of the guys' outs are ground ball outs. Mm-hmm. So he's going to have a good year. And he will be massive trade bait for the Mets next year when they're in the same spot that they are now and they're not very good. Because I'm sorry, I just don't think they're going to be. Because if you're going to tell me that they keep Thor and then you have a rotation of DeGrom, Syndergaard, Stroman, okay.
That's solid.
Then I would say, okay, you know what? You are absolutely competing next year. Just, if you're the Mets, don't trade Noah Syndergaard. For starters, I don't want them to trade him because he's probably either going to go to the Padres or to, God forbid, the Astros. And then you could just gift wrap the World Series for the Astros at this point. So I really don't want the Mets to trade Syndergaard because there's no way he's going to the Yankees. So if you're going to trade him, just if they are going to trade him to the Padres. That's the only good scenario because if he goes to the Astros, this season is over.
Machado would be happy about that. All right, so Damian came on and said he loves this trade for the Mets.
Right. Yes, if they're not selling.
If they're not selling, right. And then he also said otherwise it's the Mets being the Mets.
It's going to be the latter.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Mets being the Mets because sometime within the next 48 hours, Brody Van Wagenen's going to be BVW and he's going to trade Noah Syndergaard to Astros.
BV Dubs.
Here we go. And here we go. Off to the races with the Mets. The Mets being the Mets and the Mets being laughed at. The Wilpons being laughed at.
Yeah.
And you know what? Anything bad that happens to that team, they deserve it. They bring it on themselves.
I mean, I guess it really depends on what they get back, though. Because, if they get back, like, a haul, and, like, in the future, they have, like, these, 4 studs that they got from this trade. Kind of like what, the Yankees did when they, traded Chapman and all that kind of stuff. They got some good players, and then they made a couple other trades, and they got some more good players. And if they can do something similar to that, but they have to be guys that are almost ready to come and perform. Like, they can't get somebody that's going to be ready in 7 years because by then Stroman and DeGrom are done. So it's wasted.
Here's the problem too: if the Mets trade Syndergaard, the way I see it is you would have to get someone in return who you want to get future prospects, but you also need someone who you can put either into your lineup or back in the rotation.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily see a match there with any of these teams that they're targeting where that would be the case. Now, if they were going to try and trade him to the Yankees, I'm sure they would ask for Domingo Germán in return. And if I'm the Yankees, I'm not so sure that I don't know that I would do that.
I mean,
it really depends.
Germán's a lot cheaper and control,
I think it depends on who you're getting back in return. Listen,
the injury concerned a little bit with Noah, but
I'm not going to put Domingo Germán in the Noah Syndergaard category. Okay, I'm not that silly. But here's what I will say about Domingo Germán: with all the pressure in the world on him last night, going into a game that I believe they absolutely, positively had to win. And I know you could have said, even if they lost, they still would have been 7-up and 8-up in the loss. I don't want to hear any of that. That was a monster game. He went in. First of all, it was on national TV. You were on the verge of getting swept by your rival in a series where if the Red Sox did sweep, they'd feel really good about their chances of being able to win this division still. And we'll get to that later because I'm not done with that yet. And he went in and gave them 5 1/3 of 9 strikeout baseball. At times looked dominant. At times gave you glimpses of what he could be. I'm sorry, that was the most important start of the year for the Yankees last night. I see no two ways about it because if the Red Sox had swept that series and we're only 7 back, we're talking very, very differently this morning about things. Mm-hmm. It's still a very desperate situation for the Yankees, who absolutely need 1, if not 2 pitchers at this deadline. But Domingo Germán did what an ace would do last night. And he has 13 wins on the year and an ERA hovering in the mid-3s. He's not in the Cy Young conversation because he's not Verlander dominant, and Verlander should win the Cy Young this year. Because look, if you look at the other guys who have 13 wins this year, you're talking about Eduardo Rodriguez and Lance Lynn, guys who have ERAs, I think, in the 4s.
Yeah.
Or the Lance Lynn.
Rodriguez has been pitching very well as of late, though. I mean, he had a really rough start of the season.
But I want to tell you, do you know what's great about Domingo Germán, though? If this trends out for the rest of the year, he's going to actually finish in the top 5 in Cy Young voting. And that is not anything that Yankee fans thought they would see.
No.
That's the kind of unexpected good luck that you need to have if you're trying to chase down a championship, is you need somebody unexpected to step up. And if it's a starting pitcher, that's better because that's what the Yankees need the most right now.
Between Germán and Urshela and, even like a lot of people, as much as I love DJ LeMahieu, I wasn't expecting him to be a top 5 MVP candidate. And so far this year, he has done that. And I think he's an amazing player, but I didn't think he was an MVP candidate.
If that situation were to present itself and the
What's up, Clint?
we will trade you Syndergaard, but Herman has to be part of the return along with some other minor league pieces. I'd probably still do it because Noah Syndergaard, again, when he is at his best, is a proven ace. We don't know anything about Domingo Germán. Here's the one thing I know about Domingo Germán. The first 2 passes through a lineup, he can be very dominant. The third pass is where it gets scary. Yeah. Now, that's not a bad thing yet because he's still relatively young. He turns 27 this coming week, actually. His birthday's the day after mine. But that's something that, with time, as a starter, is, I don't know if you want to say correctable, but that's something that he should be able to progress into, to be able to get through a lineup a third time. Remember, this is Domingo Germán's first real go as a starting pitcher. This is his first year doing it. So it's expected that a third time through a lineup, a team, I mean, that happens with any starter. So that's something that I think could be corrected and would improve in time. So I'm not, if that's the only hole in his game, that's not a problem.
Right.
Because that's something that you should progress into as a starting pitcher, especially a guy who's just getting his first real pass as a starting pitcher. So I would still probably make that trade just because the return is Noah Syndergaard, and you could say, well, this is a 26-year-old behemoth of an ace that we could build around. So, but again, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the Mets are inclined at all to deal with the Yankees. So, and vice versa in some ways. So,
Right. Yeah, and then we also have some other stuff to talk about. And I'm sure, as Damien Dighton, he is a big-time baseball fan. Cleveland Indians, Trevor Bauer went a little bananas the other day, chucking the ball towards the backstop and then grabbing the ball and trying to throw it over the center field line.
Oh, he threw it over the center field.
And then after a very disappointing inning, and then I love when Francona came out and was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
No,
I know what he said.
What the bleep is wrong with you? That's exactly what he said. And you know what?
And then he's like, "Get the hell out of here!"
All right, so maybe you know what? This is probably a very good segue into you and I. We said we were gonna bring up something later in the show where we talked about a topic and maybe took it from different perspectives. Where the working title would be Devil's Advocate or something like that.
Yeah.
And as you guys all know, I'm the perfect person to play the Devil's Advocate. So I'm gonna play the Devil's Advocate here for a second, okay?
Uh-huh.
First, let's talk about the act. Very dumb, very stupid. He said it himself. It was childish and unacceptable, and he's right. It was stupid. But here's what I want to say about it. First of all, I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to defend what he did, but I am going to defend him a little bit. For starters, after that, first of all, he was contrite about it right from the beginning because as soon as Francona came out, he knew what he did was wrong. He patted Francona on the chest, and you could see he was very conciliatory. He was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. That was really bad. I know it." And Francona's, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Get in the dugout like a child, like a parent, mentoring a child.
Exactly.
Get in the dugout, little baby."
Yeah.
And however, here's a couple of things. One, to Bauer's credit, and this is why. This will be talked about for today and today only. We talk about this stuff all the time on this show, how athletes don't take accountability for their actions. But you know what? He did. Right after the game, he took accountability for it. Mm-hmm. He was as self-deprecating as could possibly be. He stood in front of the media. He took his lumps, and he's like, it was childish. It was unacceptable. It was unbecoming. All of it. He said all the right things. And you know what? Tomorrow, we won't even be talking about it anymore. Because he did the right thing after the game. He stood in front of the media and he did exactly what he had to do. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the other thing. And I said that, I don't know if I said this to you, but I said this yesterday on the Yankees text group. And if this had been Madison Bumgarner who did it, mm-hmm. my favorite pitcher and one of my favorite players in all of baseball, mm-hmm. if he had done that, we would have been like, "Oh man, we love it. That dude is so intense. He's the man. I want him on my team." Now, I don't like doing what ifs because what ifs are what ifs.
Personalities come into fact here. I mean, they come into play. And Bauer has proven that he's kind of a mental case. He's done that throughout his whole career.
He's a total quirk.
Whereas Madison Bumgarner has proven that he's just a fiery competitor.
He's an intense competitor. And
he's quiet mostly. He's mostly quiet.
And here's the other thing about Madison Bumgarner. The guy's got 3 championships, so he's got a lot of cachet. So you're going to give him more leash than you're going to give a guy like Trevor Bauer, who has not accomplished anything like that in his career. But the one similarity, the one slight apples to apples comparison is the one you could say this about Trevor Bauer. Yeah, maybe he's a free spirit and a quirky personality, but he is intense. And you know what? I will tell you this, in a weird kind of way, I might actually want him on the mound in New York because I think he might have the, you know what? I don't often agree with A-Rod, but A-Rod actually said last night during that game while J-Lo and his daughters were serving a birthday cake that he didn't eat, that he could see Trevor Bauer maybe succeeding in a place like New York because he's a little bit out there. You know what? He might be right. And trash A-Rod all we want, but the guy is a baseball savant, and he does know the game, and he does know hitting and mechanics and all that stuff. But he could be right about a guy like Trevor Bauer. He really could be. A guy like Trevor Bauer. Now, I'm not saying I want the Yankees to make that trade, but we do know the Yankees need a starting pitcher, and Trevor Bauer, of what's left, might be the best available because I don't consider Madison Bumgarner to be available. The Giants, unfortunately, have won too much. And even if they wanted to unload Madison Bumgarner, the asking price could be so astronomical that Brian Cashner might even actually have to hang up the phone and be like, I can't do it because we're not giving up Gleyber Torres. So I'm not saying I want Bauer, but I will tell you, if the rotation going into the playoffs was like Bauer, Tanaka, and say Domingo Germán, I'd probably feel better about than whatever the Yankees are currently going to throw out there because at this point, if Severino even comes back, he's not going to be in the rotation. He'll come out of the bullpen. I just don't see a scenario under which you could throw him out as a starter into the playoffs when the guy has not thrown a pitch this year. I don't see that. I do not see that. He will not get enough work in time between when he comes back through the end of the regular season to be able to throw into the rotation. But he could be a long guy coming out of the bullpen. The Yankees will probably have to employ an opener. Okay? They'll probably have to employ an opener, and then they will have to go, maybe to a guy like Severino for 4 innings. I could see that happening, but I don't see Luis Severino starting a playoff game this year. I think if he's used at all, it'll be out of the pen, probably in a long roll, where he could really go for 4 innings and just unload the gas tank and just, throw a ton of fastballs, unload the tank, empty the tank, and just go for it.
And possibly hurt his arm again.
Maybe. I don't know, but I mean, look, it's the playoffs. You've got the offseason to heal if you're done. But going back to Bauer, so I'm not going to defend what he did. It was stupid. I wish he hadn't done it. Probably hurt his trade value a little bit. Although honestly, there were some scouts and executives who were like,
he definitely hurt it. He definitely hurt his trade value. People are not. You don't want that. You don't want that person in your clubhouse.
I think
these guys spend 180 days together a year.
I saw quotes from 2 different anonymous GMs, I think, who were like, not really. They were kind of like, not really.
Yeah, exactly. They're anonymous because their team's shit. I mean, earmuffs.
But you know what? I'll take their opinions over ours. I will, just because they're doing that job and we're not, and we don't have to make that kind of evaluation. Mm-hmm. It's very easy for us as fans to jump the gun and say stuff like that and have an emotional reaction to it. I'm more inclined to go with what a GM's going to say and say, you know what? It's maybe a little, but very minimal. And I would agree with that. I would agree that it's minimal at best. It's not going to change ultimately. You know what it might change? If you're trying to put together a package for a guy like Trevor Bauer, I don't think it's going to change the main ingredient in terms of the big guy you would want in return, but it might change some of the smaller pieces. Some of the minor league prospects. Maybe instead of our number 4 guy, you're going to get our number 6.
I just don't know if he'll get traded because of it.
What's that?
I don't know if he'll get traded because of it. Like, it's just something that any contender doesn't want that in their clubhouse.
Well, and again, from the Indians' perspective,
I mean, look at in the NFL. Look in the NFL. What happened to Le'Veon Bell? Look what happened. He is the most talented running back in the league, and he ended up not getting any play from anybody but who? The Jets, who are a mess. Like that. It's just that's what happens to these players that kind of are quirky and they act like an idiot. And Trevor Bauer, this isn't the first time. He's done this on social media for years. He has said the most obscene things on the on the interwebs. You can go through his Twitter profile and all that kind of stuff and see some crazy stuff that he says, whether it's like, really, really backing President Trump and all that kind of stuff, which is fine if you want to do that. The way that he goes about it, though, is a little weird.
He's not the only athlete who backs Trump.
No, he's not the only person. Obviously, Trump's in the office, so obviously there's a lot of people that backed him. But
I'm not going to trash him.
It's the way. No. It's the way he goes about it. It's the way he attacks fans and goes after them.
Antagonize.
Right.
That's
and that's not who you want on your. Why would you want that on the championship team? You're going to implode yourself from the inside out. I just don't. He's actually he's a player in the league that if he was on, like, I watch him pitch in this league because I root for him to not succeed because of the way that he acts outside of the pitching. His pitching style, and I would not. He is also one of the players that he is probably the only player in the league right now that if he was on our team and he was pitching, I wouldn't watch while he was pitching.
Oh boy, you're gonna give him the A-Rod treatment?
Yeah, that's how much I dislike him. That's where we are with him. Is that he's?
You might have to walk away from a game for 6 innings.
I probably would. I probably would, and that's something that I'd be okay with doing. Damian actually said the Indians have a firm grip on WC1, the wild card 1 spot, despite all the injuries. I wouldn't get all my hopes up about them being sellers. I don't know if they're going to be sellers either. I mean, yeah, they are in the mix, so it's they are looking like they're in a decent spot.
Well, here's the other thing too. Let's say they dangle Trevor Bauer to a team like the Yankees, who then they're probably almost, I don't know, maybe not almost certainly, but might have to face again in the playoffs.
Right.
What are you going to be asking from the Yankees for starters?
Oh, you're going to be asking so much. I mean, they're going to be asking a ton.
Garcia. So that's the Yankees' number 1 prospect, and Davy Garcia is a guy who he's 20, but I don't know. He could help the Yankees this year. So the Yankees would have a lot to think about. And this is why I think when all is said and done, I don't think the Yankees are going to walk away with anything significant at this trade deadline. I do not. They're not going to get Mad Bum, and I don't think they're going to get Bauer. I honestly think we want to know who the guy who I think the Yankees are walking away with because they have a I can't say the term because I'm trying to be PG.
I already swore once, so you can say earmuffs and go for it.
I was just going to say they have a hard-on for Robbie Ray because they like guys who strike people out. They like strikeout guys. And Robbie Ray, even though he lost to the Marlins yesterday, struck out like 10 or 11 guys. And Brian Cashman loves that crap, just like he loves home run hitters in Yankee Stadium instead of contact hitters.
Yeah.
So I think that's who they're going to get. And they love making trades with the Diamondbacks. That's like their jam. Let's go after Diamondbacks because that helps us win World Series. So let's go poach more from the Diamondbacks. Let's go get a 500 pitcher from the D-backs who strikes out 10 guys a game but probably loses. So we're going to go get Robbie Ray. That's going to be the guy. That's who the Yankees are going to walk away with at this trade deadline. No Mad Bum, no Legends of the Fall, no World Series heroes. They're going to get Robbie Ray, who sounds like a porn star.
Or a 90s pop singer. Like Sugar Ray. Anyway, so Clint also said Sox are toast. Sale is done.
All right, I have it. Here's my bold prediction. You want to hear my bold
prediction? Okay, yeah. Because I've been kind of saying how Sale is gonna. I mean, you're gonna see a sharp decline with him just because based on his body type only. I mean,
here's
it's just
bold prediction, and this is where bold predictions are meant to be.
I don't think they're done. But I don't think Sale's done. I think he's going to be a decent pitcher for the next couple of years. But then he's going to take a sharp. He's not a Cy Young guy anymore.
Damian, you're only partly there. Damian said what? They're going to win. The Red Sox will win the division. I'm going to take this a step beyond that. This is 1978 all over again, except it's 1978 in reverse. Whereas now at the time, it's not a total apples to apples. It's a little more apples to oranges because in 1978, in August, the Yankees were 14 games behind the Red Sox and mounted one of the most furious comebacks you'll ever see. You'll probably never see anything like that again. But it's going to happen again, except it's going to be in reverse. This time, the Red Sox are going to come back from what is now 9 games back. They're not just going to win the division. They're going to win the World Series again. That's what's going to happen. This is going to be – and if you think about it, that's where the 78 comparison stands because in 77, the Yankees won the World Series. They looked like duds in 78, and then they came back. They came back from 14 games down, won the 1-game playoff in Boston, went on to defend their World Series title. The Red Sox are going to do the same thing. The Red Sox do not look like a good. They look like a good team, not a great team right now. But the Red Sox, and here's the problem I have with the Yankees. I've said this for years, and I still believe it. Since 2004, this Yankees team, it doesn't matter who stays, who comes, who goes, this Yankees team plays in fear of the Boston Red Sox. They look timid. They look tight. They look like they don't think they belong on the same field with the Red Sox. And I'm sure a lot of Yankee fans will say that that's absurd. But you know what? Look at the amount of championships since 2004. The Red Sox have 4. The Yankees have 1. Okay? The Yankees don't look like they belong on the field. And this weekend, they did not look like they belonged anywhere near the Red Sox. I will tell you that last night, even up until that last out, I believed Boston was going to win that game. I really did. I kept saying to myself, it was 9-4 in the 8th. And I think the Red Sox had 2 men on, and they were down, so they're down 5. And I kept saying to myself, how are the Yankees going to get 5 outs before the Red Sox score 5 runs? I didn't, I was connecting the dots, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see the path here for the Yankees to get 5 outs with their hideous bullpen before the Red Sox and their extremely dangerous lineup can score 5 runs. I'm still in shock that the Yankees won that game last night. I'm in shock. And I actually went into the series thinking the Yankees are going to get swept, and in very, very embarrassing fashion. And that almost happened.
Aren't the Yankees up on the Red Sox this year, like 7-4 head-to-head?
Yeah, they have. Yes, they have. They have. But I feel like there is a timidness and tightness in the last 15 to 16 years at the way the Yankees play the Red Sox. They look like do not get me started on Aaron Judge, who for a man of his stature comes up the way he does against this Boston team. Look at his numbers in Fenway. That guy goes into Fenway and he melts. He folds like a cheap suit. He cannot play in that stadium. And when you think about the kind of hitter that Aaron Judge is, in a stadium like that, he should be hitting 400 in that stadium with a crap ton of home runs, and he poops the bed every time he walks into Fenway and he sees that green monster. I don't know what. If you're Aaron Judge, with his kind of power, he should be hitting pop-up home runs over that monster. Hits that would normally be outs in any other stadium. He should be hitting little bloops over that wall. He doesn't go anywhere near that wall. He should be pelting that wall. He is like a 100-something hitter.
Well, it's tough if they're not pitching to you so that you can hit off that wall. Like if they're pitching you low and away.
But look at the pitches. Yeah, and he keeps swinging at those pitches.
Right.
Aaron Judge,
because he wants to pelt the wall.
I'm not going to put him on the Giancarlo Stanton level where like there is such an easy formula to get Stanton out that it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But Aaron Judge against the Red Sox is not very good. And I'll tell you what, I'm not saying I want to trade him. He's one of like the 3 or 4 faces of baseball, right? I like him, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, faces of baseball kind of guy. So you don't want to trade him. But I will tell you this, of those 3 guys, he'd be the one I'd want the least on my team. I'll tell you that. I really, that's not really going out on much of a limb. I think we all know that Mookie Betts and Mike Trout are better players than Aaron Judge, but and by a long shot. And the one thing I will tell you after seeing this, by the way, the Red Sox better really open their wallet for Mookie Betts. That guy deserves every penny he gets. He's as big time a player as there is in this league.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like they want to get there, which is stupid. But
they're going to have to, because otherwise he's going to go somewhere else and torture them.
Right.
So the Red Sox are going to have to open up. They're going to have to open up the wallet. You absolutely are going to have to. That guy is way too good. He's already got an MVP under his belt, second place finish as well. He's won a World Series. You have to pay that man, and you have to pay him like he is one of the 2 best players in baseball, because he is. It's Trout, and then there's a big gap, and then there's Mookie Betts. So you're going to have to pay him. Yep. Damian agrees with me, and Damian and I don't agree often. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
I think everybody agrees that they should pay him the money. It's a matter if they will.
So, anyways, that is my bold and absurd prediction for the rest of this year: is that Boston is going to defend their championship, and it's going to be a very painful year for Yankees fans, even worse than
Damian's a diehard Red Sox fan. Of course, he wants his best player on the best player on his team.
Yeah,
he wants him back. He wants him to get paid, because if they lose him,
going anywhere.
That's a big deal.
He's not going anywhere. Just like Trout wasn't going anywhere. It's not happening. They will open the wallet. They'll have to. They'll have to suck it out. Look, you got to make sacrifices in other areas, but you have to keep a guy like that. That's one of the two best players in baseball. It's going to cost you. You know that. You know it. There's just no two ways about it. Man, I would trade Aaron Judge for Mookie Betts in a heartbeat. Though, I'll tell you that. Oh my God. I don't know about Clint's assessment there. Judge will get more patient in time, like Barry Bonds.
Judge is he's very patient as it is. I mean, he is
patient.
He's always
not 3-2.
He's always in the top 5 around base percentage. I mean
I don't know if anybody has this statistic handy, but I would love to know off the top of my head. Is there anybody in baseball who gets in more full counts than Aaron Judge? I can't even imagine. I will give him that. He works himself into really good counts. He definitely does.
Yeah.
But he doesn't always take advantage of that. Sometimes he walks, but sometimes he just does strike out a lot too, and that really annoys me. And in the playoffs, again, pitchers.
He's a big dude. He's a big dude. He's gonna K a lot. I mean, he's a big dude.
I know he is.
Big dude with a big zone. I mean, that's tough.
And I love
baseball's
this guy.
tough.
He's great for baseball. He's a good guy. He says and does all the right things, maybe even at a level like that Jeter did in terms of saying and doing all the right things. But
I don't know if there's ever been a player in baseball that's done it better than Jeter.
He can be a liability, though, because the one thing that Derek Jeter did better than anyone in the playoffs was he just continued to be Derek Jeter. He didn't
batted 300. Yeah,
batted 3. He just
occasional home run, big home run.
Derek Jeter was Derek Jeter from April to November. That's what made Derek
grabbed
Jeter
all the balls that were hit to him. Yeah, made all the plays. And then he made some crazy plays too, where
consistent first ballot Hall of Famer. He won't be Derek Jeter will not be 100% Hall of Fame. He won't be unanimous because the one thing that he never got was an MVP, and that will keep him.
He should have gotten an MVP, but he got robbed.
He should have probably gotten it twice, but he got hosed.
He got robbed. All right, so
he got hosed both times by Minnesota Twins, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Once by Mauer, once by Murnau.
Yeah. So we have. I just wanted to kind of briefly touch on something because we don't have a lot of time left, but I do want to touch on the NBA because obviously Russell Westbrook was introduced into the Rockets. He had a press conference. He did a whole thing. Everybody seemed to, really enjoy what he had to say. He seemed like a good dude and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. I'm not going to really get into that much right now. We've already kind of given our thoughts on Russell Westbrook as going to the Rockets. It's more of a wait and see approach here. We need to wait and see how this all plays out. Will they actually sacrifice? Will they sacrifice for each other? And then we have over here some comments. There should be far more unanimous Hall of Famers, including Jeter. That's what Damien says. And that's from a Red Sox fan, but a baseball fan. He's a real baseball fan. And then you have Clint, who says Jeter was no Nomar. Do you remember all the talk when Jeter and Nomar were playing at the same time? And then you had like Ray Ordonez, who was at the same time, and like they were like, "Oh my God, these guys are so much better than Jeter." What happened?
Jeter, A-Rod, and Nomar.
What happened?
We're the big three.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw Nomar last week when I was in LA because he
was a good player. He was a really good player.
He does he did like the pregame for the Dodgers game because he works for the Dodgers now, or probably for their network. But yeah, I saw him last week.
Yeah.
That was a very great experience, by the way, going to Dodger Stadium. So awesome.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I think I posted some pictures. I posted them on the page.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, on the Sports and Source page.
Such a cool experience. I'm so glad I got to see all
good
that.
Seats. Really good seats.
Oh my God, they were unbelievable.
Damien said Nomar's peak was better, but Jeter's longevity
and
blows
Miguel
Nomar
too.
out
I
the
remember
water.
that.
Yeah,
Miguel Tejada was in that conversation.
He was
a good player.
Yeah.
That guy could hit.
He could, but they all couldn't do it for a long time, and that's what you need to do when you're, we have Don Mattingly, who has his peak was one of the best that we've ever seen. And
for 5 years.
5 years, he was the best player in baseball. And it was like, he was dominant. I mean, so dominant and so clutch. And he was just so great. And then his back. And then that's what happens. You have to have a little bit more longevity in order to get that to get into the Hall of Fame. So we have that. But the other thing I want to talk about in the NBA real quick was, did you see the Jeremy Lin press conference?
No.
So he came out and basically said that he was very, very candid. He came out and he talked about how he felt like the NBA because he's a free agent this year. They just won a championship. He just won an NBA championship, coming off that high, and then he comes into free agency, and he's getting 0 offers for 0 money, and he is a solid backup point guard. I will say that. Now, he was kind of like a little broken. He felt like he had kind of hit rock bottom. And he said, during this free agency period, I kind of feel like I'm hitting rock bottom because I feel like the NBA has given up on me. And that was, for one, I applaud Jeremy Lin because he came out and was very candid and just very open about it. Not saying, I've had a good career, we just won a championship, we'll see how it all plays out, da-da-da. This is how he feels. He feels like with the offers he's not getting, with the feedback he's getting from his, agent and all that kind of stuff, that it's just not going to happen. And this is after winning a championship, where it's not like he played an integral part, but he was a part of that team, and he's just not getting any love whatsoever. So I feel a little bad for him. I feel a little bad. At the same time, I also want to be like, dude, you just won a championship. There's not many people that can say that in the world. Buck up, Buttercup. Go play. There's a place for you to play somewhere. It might not be in the NBA this year, but there's a place for you to play somewhere if you want to play. And don't no sob stories here. You got an NBA title. That is incredible. That is something that goes on your resume for the rest of your life. You are a very well-spoken man. You're a smart man. You can go into broadcasting. You could have the NBA still be a part of your life. So buck up. I'm kind of like torn. That would have been a good thing to talk about on both sides. This devil advocate that we're kind of tossing around here. We got to come up with a better name for it. So like Damian, Clint, whoever else is watching or listeing, if you have a name that's something like devil's advocate that we can throw on a hashtag out there.
How about the Brian Man stupid takes?
No, that's a long hashtag.
The Brian Man's bad takes.
Because what we're gonna
me being on the wrong side of it every time.
Well, the plan is that we're gonna flip a coin, and they're gonna flip a coin, and whoever heads will be the Brian Man, and that'll be that person takes the devil's advocate approach.
How about we call it flip flop?
We can't because there's a show called Flip or Flop.
Damn it.
And that hashtag, I'm sure, has been taken. And I'm sure Flip Flop is all over the place. There's a gym in our neighborhood that's called Flip Flop Gymnastics, so we got to think a little bit more creatively. That's why we can't really call it Devil's Advocate, because there's obviously a lot of hashtags that are going to be devil advocate. Get off the fence. That's not bad. Yeah, hashtag get off the fence.
I feel like there's a get off the fence though.
We might have to look that up. We might have to look that one up. That's pretty good. So we'll be looking for those. Go ahead and email them to us, or just submit them on the comments, and we'll keep an eye out, and we'll write them down and see what we can come up with. All right, now let's get into the last topic.
How about off the reservation, where I just go completely nuts and say stupid stuff. Off the reservation.
We can have that be a separate topic altogether. You can have a 5-minute segment where you just go off the reservation.
Right.
You put on your wool cap and maybe just go a little bananas.
Lost the Brian Man again. He done gone off the reservation.
Brian Man hates your take. What the whole thing is, we're gonna go on Twitter, and we're gonna pick people's comments. We're gonna pick people's comments out that we like or we didn't like, and we're just gonna put them on there, and then we'll have to take maybe their side or not their side, and that's what we're thinking about doing. So let us know what you think about those, if that could be fun, because we're trying to change things up a little bit. It's been getting a little stale after 3 years we've been doing this, so it's been getting a little stale. So we're gonna change it up. We're gonna get fresh. We're gonna stay with the times. So and also, coming next month
Hashtag wars.
and then to talk about to get a little bit more liberal with our. Obviously you heard me swear today, which is unfortunate, but I did it. I'll take complete responsibility for my actions. I'm coming out in the press conference afterwards here, and I'm just accepting all the bad things that I did, and I apologize to you and the fans and all the young people out there that might have been listening. So I really, really am sorry. But coming in August, Brian Man's birthday is right around the corner. I believe Saturday, coming up, and starting in August, we are going to be a little bit more liberal with our swearing, and the earmuff effect will be installed. and you will get 30 seconds to go on your tirade of swear debauchery.
Yeah.
And we'll be allowed to do that once per show. I think we should limit it. What do you think? Once?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like that.
And I don't think it should roll over like vacations in some workplations. I don't think
It's not like rollover minutes?
No.
Or data? Rollover data? There's no minutes anymore. It's data. That's how old I am. Rollover minutes.
Yeah. That's a long time ago. Feel the burn. Hashtag feel the burn. Liberal feel the burn.
How about burn, baby, burn? That would be in line with the Yankees, That used to be one of John Sterling's calls.
Very true. All right, so NFL, real quick, before we sign off, Tyreek Hill and what the NFL was thinking about this. Go ahead. Yeah, I know that this is something you mentioned. I want to hear your take here. Then I'll fire back if I need to. Man's doubled over and needs some pep time.
This is tough. There's in a lot of times when we've had domestic abuse issues in the NFL, it seems like lately often there's been video evidence to accompany it, which makes it more egregious. Here we have audio evidence. I think it is it's disheartening and despicable that the NFL didn't do something. I actually thought when I first heard all of this stuff, I said, this guy's career is done, and rightfully so. He should not be allowed to play in this league. The things that he said, telling his wife and his kid, you should be afraid of me. Oh, man. Look, you're a dad, you're a husband. Can you imagine saying stuff like that to your wife or to your kids? You should be afraid of me? Come on. What is Roger Goodell? God, the NFL, this is what drives people nuts about the NFL, is that they do not consistently punish players based on their egregious acts. It's unbelievable. Look, I'm not gonna defend a guy like Josh Gordon, because even though I like Josh Gordon, but let's be honest, Josh Gordon is guilty of smoking pot and basically having an addiction to pot that he just can't seem to get past.
Right.
It's what troubles him. Okay. And it is an NFL rule. And even as silly as we may all think it is, well, what's the big deal? Pot is legal now in a lot of states. Why should the NFL punish for it if the country doesn't even really punish for it in certain states anymore? But here's the bottom line. It is an NFL rule, and you do have to follow it. Simple as that. If you can't follow the rules, then you shouldn't be allowed to play. And do I think it's a silly rule? Yes. Do I think NFL players should be allowed to smoke pot? Yes. I think everybody should be allowed to smoke pot if they want to. And I'm somebody who's never actually even had a drag once in my life of pot, and I could not care less about people who do smoke it. And I could not care less if NFL players did it or any professional athletes did it. But you know what? It is part of the rules.
And the NFL too, it should be legal just because of all the pain they have to deal with. Yeah.
Yes. It absolutely should be. Come on. The NFL players, the hits that they take, it could elongate careers.
It could, possibly.
Because it could have that kind of an effect. But look, the NFL is antiquated.
Just
in a lot
help
of
them
ways.
fall asleep,
So
all that kind of stuff.
Surprising. It's not just the NFL. That's any sports organization. You can't smoke pot. It would be considered a violation. But what we're talking about here is a completely different level with a guy like Tyreek Hill. And I watched segments of his press conference afterwards. And you know what? He said a lot of the right things, but it didn't feel like he meant it. He didn't feel like he meant it. There was a female reporter who was asking him questions, and his first response was he looked at her and he was like, "What's your name?" She says her name, and he's like, "Okay." Like, he completely dismissed her because she was a female. And that's what Tyreek Hill does. He doesn't just dismiss females. He knocks them out. He pushes them down. That guy is a total piece of shit. Sorry. There we go. And he should not be allowed to play in this league. And what is the standard that the NFL is setting that they are allowing guys like Tyreek Hill to continue to play football? All the NFL continues to do is everything that I think I've said about them for the last few years on this program is that, and it rings true. If you have talent in this league, there will always be a place for you, no matter what you do, what you say, who you hurt. If you are talented and young, there's always going to be a place for you in the National Football League. It is an absolute atrocity that guy should be able to take the field. I'm not saying I have the answers in terms of how long he should have been suspended or what the punishment should be. Yeah. But the fact that there was nothing, disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful that guy gets to play in the NFL immediately.
It's in sports in general, really. But, I mean, it is more prevalent in the NFL.
And you want to know what? I think, and I hate to say it because I'm such a big fantasy football fan, fantasy football plays a part in this, folks. If you're crazy if you don't think it does, it absolutely does. Fantasy sports is big money, and it's no bigger than it is in the NFL. It's huge. Where I would say the average fantasy football owner probably owns more than 2 teams. You know, it's right. And you know what, Damian, you're right. You take a knee during the national anthem, and that's a problem. But a guy can beat his wife and beat his kids and tell them that he should be afraid of them, and nothing. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say about Roger Goodell in the NFL other than things I've already said in the past. So I'm not gonna beat the dead horse. But shame on the NFL. Bad on you. This is an absolute disgrace. And I think Damian brings up a good point. You can't take a knee during the national anthem. You're a pariah then. But hey, you can beat your wife and kids. That's cool. We'll condone that. We'll condone that. You get away with no punishment whatsoever. And you know what? Again, like and the Chiefs are really weird in this too, because the Chiefs had a problem with Kareem Hunt, who was on video last year beating up a woman, and they got rid of him in a heartbeat. And bad on the Browns for signing him right away, and he'll serve his punishment. Again, it's like, does everything have to be caught on video? What, audio is not good enough? Well, we know the guy said it. He admitted to saying it. He said he was going to do everything he could to improve himself. Okay, well, that's one step in the right direction. But you know what? You should have to be making those steps to improve yourself while you're not in the NFL. If anybody thinks that this isn't going to happen again with this guy, you're nuts. You're nuts. It's going to happen again. Sorry.
No, I mean, it happens quite often. It's really unfortunate. And, it's when you have these athletes that have all this testosterone in their body because, for whatever they're taking, they're constantly getting beat up on the field. Violence is kind of a thing of their culture. So
there's a lot of culprits here. One, the Roger Goodell, who I still believe is one of the worst commissioners we'll ever see in the history of organized sports, but he will continue to be commissioner of the NFL for so long as he chooses, because the owners will never vote him out. He makes way too much money. The league makes way too much money. It's a total cash cow. The guy's not going anywhere. He's kind of Trump in a way, and he's not going to go anywhere. Because you know what? There's probably, look, we know there are obviously certain members of the Republican Congress who love a guy like Trump. Right. Look at the stock market, the way it's performed since Trump. It's ridiculous, and it's not a good indicator of any of his presidency. But in a similar way, the NFL is very successful. It makes a ton of money under Roger Goodell. He's not going anywhere. He's just not. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm disgusted by the NFL with Tyreek Hill. I really am. The guy needs help. The guy needs significant mental help.
Yes.
And he's going to be playing football this year. And you know what? Every time he scores a touchdown, his fantasy owners are going to cheer, and Arrowhead Stadium is going to be rocking, and it's a joke. It's a joke. I don't know what else to say. I feel really bad for his wife and kids, who, it's going to happen again.
It really sucks. Damian actually said, say what you will about the Cubs and Addison Russell, but at least he missed a bunch of time while the fallout from his domestic violence problems was playing out.
He did.
And now he just got demoted too to AAA, I think, recently. So things are not looking good for him, and they shouldn't. when you do stuff like that, it's got to be. I will
tell you, like for example, though, if we are ever going to do some kind of a get off the fence or a Brian Man hates your take or whatever kind of segment, I wouldn't be able to do something where I could defend Tyreek Hill.
No, I mean, I think when it comes to,
I wouldn't even touch a topic like that because that's indefensible.
I think when it comes to like anything like domestic violence or abuse or all that, there's a lot like sexual assault, all that kind of stuff that we can't do. But when it comes to like more fun, like not fun, like funny kind of takes and stuff like that.
Serious.
Yeah. Like sports.
But like that, yeah, I wouldn't touch a subject like that. Yeah. I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
There's no coin to flip there.
Yeah, it's true, Damien. People should be, the NFL should be more concerned with what his family needs. Yeah.
Right. The guy said, you should be afraid of me. That's called a future warning. That's as Paul Heyman in WWE would say, that's not a spoiler. That's a fact. That's what's going to happen. He just told his family and the world that his wife and kids should be afraid of him. It's going to happen again.
Yep. All right. So when
it does happen and it's worse than what happened the time before, what are the Chiefs in the NFL going to do? They're going to, and what if it's worse? What if, God forbid, he really hurts somebody?
Yeah. I mean, it's most likely going to happen. He's going to hurt somebody at some point in time. Unless he actually gets some real help and his family gets some real help.
He basically warned them.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Let's move on from that. I just wanted to kind of touch on a couple of sorts things. To get it into a different realm. There's a couple of shows that I've been watching recently. One, and they're both on Amazon Prime. So if you don't have Amazon Prime, you don't have to listen to this. But if you do, one show that I've been watching is The Boys. Something that the Prime Man, you don't have Prime, right?
No.
Yeah. Something that you really liked. What was it called? Brightburn? With the Superman take?
Yes. I love
the evil Superman take? Mm-hmm. I think you would love this show.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out how to get you onto Amazon Prime, even if it's just borrowing my account for a day or two and just to check it out.
I have ways like that.
So Amazon Prime, the Boys it's a different take on it. Now they're part of a corporate. It's like they're part of a corporation. Vought Industries is the corporation, and all these superheroes work for that company, and that's how they get paid. And they get paid as they get points, for merchandising and all that kind of stuff. But because of all this, they're greedy and they're evil and they act a part when they're saving people or not saving people. And then they kind of, so it's a very, very interesting take on the superhero and how they could become corrupt, kind of.
Sounds sort of like, remember Greg Kinnear's role in Mystery Men?
Yes.
How he was the superhero.
Vaguely, that's a long time ago.
But he had all the sponsors and stuff on his...
Yes, but it's... and there are times it's very funny, and there's times that it's just... cool. It's cool and creepy and weird, and it's just I've been totally taken with the show. I'm in 6 episodes in, and there's 8 episodes total in the first season. They're all hour long. Really, really well done. Different take. Really enjoy it. And then...
That's an interesting concept.
Then the other one is a sitcom that I've been watching. And it's an old sitcom. It came out in the 90s, early 2000s. And it's from Canada. And the show's called Corner Gas. On Amazon Prime. There's 6 seasons. It's just a typical sitcom, and it's absolutely hilarious. There's one character in there, his name is Oscar, who's the father, who used to own the gas station. His son has taken it over since, and his father is just absolute money with some of the lines that he comes out with during the show. Absolutely hilarious. Really enjoy the chemistry with everybody.
But it's an old show?
Oh, it's old. It's 96. It came out in 96, I think, and went to 2002. But it's so funny. It's so funny. I really enjoy it. And you get to see the 90s and early 2000s kind of clothing style and stuff like that happens because there's one person that was came from Toronto. It's built. It's in Dog River. It's I think in Saskatchewan. I think that's where it's based out of. It's just really funny. It's a lot of dialogue. There's no laugh tracks over it. It's just straight up humor, and it's really funny. It's pretty well done. And plus, especially Oscar, he is absolutely hilarious. It took me a little time to build up to Hank. It took me a little time to get warmed up to a couple of the characters, but now it's just I just look forward to seeing whatever comes out of Oscar's mouth. It's kind of calmed down a little bit in season 4. I think we're in right now. But me and the wife, we love it. It's just we like sitcoms. We're sitcom junkies, so that is good stuff. I recommend it. If you like sitcoms, definitely check it out.
What's that one called again?
That one's called Corner Gas.
Corner Gas.
And actually, the first 2 seasons, it has the bars on the side because it's such an old show. Yeah. And then it finally gets the full screen. I was kind of like, oh, look at that! It's full screen. It's filling up the whole TV. But yeah, that one's pretty. That one's pretty good. It's pretty entertaining. It's if you're looking to just have a couple of laughs, it's pretty good. And then also, obviously, The Boys. The Boys is tremendous. I started watching The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. That I couldn't really get into. I watched 3 episodes. I'm gonna probably pick it back up when I'm done with The Boys, but there's times that I'm just really bored doing it, and that's not good. So I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying to finish it, but so far not so good. But yeah, The Boys, highly recommend. I also recommend for those that are sitcom junkies like me, Corner Gas.
Okay.
You have anything that you? Because I want to go see Hobbs and Shaw this week. I want to see. I still haven't seen Toy Story 4.
I think I'm seeing Hobbs and Shaw tomorrow.
That's awesome.
A sneak preview, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I am excited about that. And what's funny is I am not a Fast and Furious fan. In fact, I think I've only seen the.
Well, this isn't like the franchise. This is like a total spinoff. That's awesome.
It's a total spinoff, which I'm looking forward to. Plus, I love Jason Statham. I love The Rock.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I have seen Lion King.
I haven't seen that.
Lion King got trashed a little bit. I would probably actually give it a 6.5 out of 10 Cinebros rating.
That's too bad.
I didn't think it was that bad.
The originals.
I thought it was a nice adaptation. I will tell you though that as you hear James Earl Jones's voice as he continues to get older, he just literally sounds more and more like Darth Vader, which is perfectly fine. It's actually pretty cool, but it's so funny how old he sounds now though, because he is old. I'm trying to think. I've seen Toy Story 4. I think I already gave my review on that. Have I seen anything else? No, not really. I don't know what else I've got. I don't know what else I've got coming up. But yeah, if I do see Fast and Furious tomorrow, I'll give a report on that if we do a show on Friday.
Did you see the writer of the Fast and Furious franchise wouldn't rule out taking the series to space?
I mean, why not? It'll make money. Oh, but speaking of movies, though, actually, maybe there is some interesting. And I don't know if we really need to touch on this, but as you know, I think it was announced last week that Avengers: Endgame is now the new #1 worldwide movie. It did pass. Passed Avatar, and it comes out on digital release tomorrow. So great timing all around for Disney and for MCU. It's weird. I'm cool with it being #1 because I was never a huge fan of Avatar. I thought Avatar was a visual wonder. It certainly was something to see. As far as being a great movie, no. But it was certainly a visual spectacle, and it was unique in that nothing like that had ever been. It was sort of a pioneer movie in a sense. But I am happy.
Damien, if you add inflation into it, Avatar's not even first.
Gone with the Wind is still the adjusted for inflation.
When there was one movie theater that everybody went to for, again, the thing was in theaters for 3 years.
And right, there was literally nothing else out. We have to go see Gone with the Wind.
Okay. With the intermission in the middle of it because it's a 9-hour movie.
But I am happy. I'm not thrilled with the way that Avengers did it, by doing that second release to try and pull it off, and they did. But I'm glad it's them and not Avatar anymore, just because I loved Avengers Endgame. As you know, even though it's by no means my favorite movie ever, or not even my favorite movie in the MCU, I still gave Avengers Endgame 10 out of 10 because it was emotional, dramatic. It checked all the boxes for me, and I thought it was very well executed. And and I had a hard time finding flaws in it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I gave it a 10 out of 10. Even though, like I said, it wasn't my favorite movie ever, and I don't think it's the best MCU movie ever, not by a long shot actually. But I gave it a 10 out of 10 because I felt like it wrapped up this 22 movie saga the best way it possibly could have. And I found it hard to give it anything less than that. Yes, exactly. It was the perfect end to that story arc. And thus 10 out of 10 is a perfect score. And I couldn't knock it. I just couldn't knock it in any way.
It wasn't the perfect.
And I'm glad.
It wasn't the perfect ending, but there was parts that were really, really well done.
I'm glad it's the number one global, box office hit of all time. I am. Yeah. I think it's a.
I was really happy to see like the new lineup that's going to be happening.
It's extremely exciting.
Yeah.
As somebody,
I think I have it somewhere right here. I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah,
Shang-Chi.
My favorite character in the Marvel universe is
Doctor Strange.
So I'm very excited.
It's supposed to be a horror type movie. Multiverse of Madness.
What is it? The
Multiverse of Madness.
I think, or something.
Yeah. Black Widow. You have the Eternals. WandaVision.
And then of course I'm very excited for
Loki, Hawkeye, the Falcon and Winter
Soldier.
Soldier. Yeah. Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, which you're finally going to actually get the Mandarin. Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness, The What If on Disney Plus, and then Thor, Love and Thunder. What do you think about that?
What's that one?
The Thor, the Love and Thunder.
Yeah,
you get Lady Thor.
Yep.
And with
Natalie Portman,
which is going to be amazing. And if they go based off the comics, I believe it's like she's battling cancer. And every time that so you get like the chemo and all that kind of treatment, every time she turns into Lady Thor, it burns off all of the medicine that she took. And so she's kind of slowly killing herself to help save the world. Yeah. Because she's not being able to let her body take the medicine. So she's like just slowly killing herself. It's crazy. The whole thing is just insane.
This is a totally random thing, by the way, but it's Marvel related. So I have been watching a lot lately because it's been on, I think it's been on HBO a lot lately, so I just keep watching it. And I have to tell you, it has now, for me, surpassed the first movie. I absolutely... What was that? I absolutely love Deadpool 2, even more than the first one.
Okay.
Love it. And it's mostly because of how much I love Josh Brolin as Cable. He is so great in that role. If you have not watched Deadpool 2, even if you have, just watch it again. It's actually a really good movie. I think it's actually funnier than the first one because I still keep laughing immensely at it. And it gets better for me every time I watch it. And Josh Brolin is so great as Cable. Yeah,
Did you ever watch the PG-13 version?
What's that?
Did you ever watch PG?
No, I have not.
I haven't either. The Once Upon a Time in Deadpool.
I don't know why I would bother. It's a family. It is a family film. He says it right from the get-go. This is a family film.
I don't know if it's better than the original because the original was original in its take, and so it was so great. I mean, breaking the fourth wall, everything. So good.
Yeah, the fourth wall stuff in the original. Like what can you do?
So
that
good.
That was a trendsetter.
Yeah.
But
and the second one was good, but it's not like it was entertaining. I don't know if it was great, but it was entertaining for sure.
Also, I am so in love with Domino. Oh my god, she's so hot.
She's very lucky.
She really is.
Super lucky.
She didn't get lucky in the looks department. That was all on purpose. She's just hot. Oh my god.
I don't even remember what she looked like in the movie. I just remember.
Domino checks a lot of boxes for me. She really does.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much for stopping by and listening and checking us out. We appreciate it.
On that note.
We will, before it gets too creepy, we will get out of here. Make sure you can check us out on our website, www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. You can obviously find us anywhere podcasts are played. I think except for Google Plus, but who cares about Google Plus? Other than that, we have
Google hashtags now.
You can find me on Twitter at IronHornersFinkle.
You can find me on Twitter at _Brian_man. And of course, this is an appropriate time for me to use my Tony Stark sign off. Part of the journey is the end. We've reached the end of our program, and that's perfect because tomorrow again on digital release, Avengers Endgame. I will be buying it.
Really? It's already Wow. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
Tomorrow digital release, and then I think it comes out physically on Blu-ray and 4K
on Wednesday
on August 13th.
Oh, that late? Okay. All right. 2 weeks. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So, and you can find us on Twitter. You can do our hashtag. You can do our Twitter handle at Shane and Bryman, and then you can tag us if you come up with a name for the possible segment that's out there. I don't know what we've come up with a couple of different ones in here, and I would have to go back and look at them. But we've come up with a few. And I like it. I like the one up there on the top when you were saying something about how the Red Sox were going to win it all, and Clint just wrote hashtag Brian drinks. Maybe that's what we should call it.
Because see, the problem is though that dictates that there's no coin flip. That I just have to take the dumb take every time. The coin flip is, I think, what makes it great.
Yeah, we'll come up. We'll do it. So we'll do the coin flip.
How about flipping out? Flipping out.
Well, that's it. I mean, are we going to flip out, though? I don't know. Are we going to flip? Are we going to flip out? I don't know. I mean, we could.
Yeah, because I think I think that's got a good dual meaning because you're talking about flipping a coin, and the person who has to take kind of the odd take is sort of has to flip out a little bit. I like it.
I'm going to take a ball. I'm going to throw it against my wall. And I'm going to go pick it up and throw it against the other wall.
Damien, thoughts on flipping out? Or Clint?
Hashtag flipping out. It's also kind of like. We'll have to type in the hashtag and see if a lot pop up, though. Because that's the problem, is finding a hashtag that's not already used in this world with or flip you off.
I just like the idea of getting flip in there somehow. I mean, we're flipping a coin, so that needs to be, I think, part of it. I like flipping off, too, because that... Because, I mean, as you know, before we sign on, I mean, I flip you off every morning. So.
Coin flipping you off? It's true.
So,
you forgot today, though.
For the visual watchers, what you don't know is that every time Shane is counting down before we start, he'll be like 5, 4, 3, 2, and then I'll be like...
Yeah.
So, of course,
Brian, man, forgot to count there for a second. You forgot how to do it for a second. Yeah,
and I was like...
And you forgot to do it today. You were like in the middle of zoning out or something, and I was like... 5, 4, 3, and then I was like, you forgot today. Click. The first time. Well, at least you did it now. That's fine. It is what it is. All right, thank you for watching.
How about we should do, let's do a survey. And we could put like 3 different options. I like flip you off. I like flipping out.
Coin flipping you off.
Yeah, we got to come up with one more. I like to have 3. I wouldn't want it to be just a choice between 2.
Okay.
I would say between
well, like if you guys like I said, if anybody has any ideas,
we'll
throw them out there, yeah. And then when the ones that we like, we'll put a poll on Twitter or something like that, or on Facebook, and we'll throw them out there and see what happens.
Don't put your poll on Twitter. That's not good practice. That's
What?
not going to stop.
You can get banned from my own show.
Actually, Twitter's pretty loosey goosey with some of their content rules. I've seen some stuff.
Loosey goosey. Indeed.
Stuff
you can see some stuff on Twitter if you accidentally put the wrong hashtag in.
Unintentional too.
Like
Like
put the wrong hashtag in.
My
It's just like,
timeline, I'm like, wow, where did that come from?
Yep,
Crazy.
it's bad.
It's a bad world. Stay classy, Planet Globe.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah.